The next chapter is Struggle of the Sorcerers.
All right. So we are live. So
Okay.
our so Alka, are we doing chapter 5 or are we doing chapter 6
No,
today?
we're just discussing. My discussion is on how do we achieve impartiality while working on the work wish. I went with understanding of what is the work wish, started by reading chapter 4 or 8 of HBM, which is Inner Aims, and it spoke a lot about. It started by understanding why we get into work, because we understand that whatever we have done in life, whatever material things we accomplish, whatever relationships we acquire, or tangible things we get, are not sufficient and are not satisfying us and are not fulfilling and there's something higher. And that is the only reason that gets someone to the work. When we go to a community, we find a lot of people, and the only common thing between all those people is that they share this common observation that there is something in this world that is not able to that's not enough, and there is another way, and that can't be the objective of being on this planet. um that's one common thing that everybody in the community shares. Then the chapter came to, eventually, after talking about how other individuals, like how we begin at the beginning of the work, our aims are too glorious and we want to change the world. We want the evolution of the world, and we realize over time that that is not something that is so easy. And most of the people don't want evolution. Forget the evolution of the world, they don't even want your evolution. So then your vision changes, and eventually what you begin with your work goal, you realize that that's not what the work is about, and the only thing that you can do is to work on yourself, right? And that's the primary step, and probably for some the only step. That's my addition. When you begin to then you realize that the work goals that you have at the beginning of your work change drastically, over the years, and there are two reasons for which they change. One is that your vision of the work expands, your vision of the situation expands, your vision of understanding of your own context and your own journey expands. And in that process you realize that your work goal is what it is, and it takes time. And the second reason why your work goal shifts is because you have probably accomplished one work goal that you had set, and you're moving forward on that. So this entire process of work goal setting, I think, is a very is a very is a very fine balance that one achieves to arrive at a state that you say that I have accomplished my work goal. So then from here I came to a work intervention which I could connect back. um I was and I'm going to recite, yeah, this example. I finished all my work on Saturday, and I sat down in my bed comfortably that now I'm going to read this chapter. The minute I open the book, my mother steps in, and and she steps in, and she speaks something, and she's like, "What are you reading?" I said, "This is what I'm reading." She's like, "I want to learn. I want to know what you're reading." So I started reading it with her, and then I spoke about and read, and she was resonating with everything I was saying. And then we stopped at a point where it said that evolution of everyone, not everybody wants evolution. In fact, people will not want your evolution. And we started talking about obstacles on the path. Like whenever you're meditating, somebody was approach. Whenever my mother is doing the mala, somebody would approach. And she for a second she was like, that am I an obstruction? And I told her, no, I don't see it as an obstruction. I see it as an intervention, wherein I am fulfilling my work. I'm fulfilling my work obligation by discussing this stuff with you. And I was feeling whole in that moment when I was discussing things and she was understanding and resonating with it. I did not feel it was an obstruction. So that I'll come back to you later when we come to discussing that part. Uh, Now coming back to the summary, since I have lost the thread a little bit. For me a second, I just write wherever I find space in my notebook, and I've kept that page open, but it's like the timeless notebook. You don't have any beginning or end to it. So I apologize in the beginning for being a little awkward at times, and this is the moment. Allow me the time. Find it. I'm going to keep my mic away. Somewhere around here. Yes. So, yeah. So the first step, I believe, in the process of where you, and it could be wrong. These
Your
are this is what
microphone.
my experience has has told me.
Your
By which,
microphone.
oh, sorry, yes. So the first step, I believe that the experience of getting to the situation when you're setting real work wishes is in the following sequence for me. This is how it has been for me in this following sequence. I'm not sure if it is a universal sequence, but I'm going to go ahead and share it. So like we discussed that initial work goals are different, and then there comes a point where there's a shift in the space and you begin to define your work goals. The first step, I believe, is realizing the situation. Wow, what is realizing the situation that we are, and I'm gonna read after page 57, Booby du jour. After a long period of observation of the biological machine, we might become afraid of the machine. Okay, that's one thing. Second is, ordinary man is a slave to involuntary, restless movements which prove he has no authority over his biological machine. In observing the manifestations of our machines, we cannot help noticing that our machines become carried away with various involuntary projects, which is to say, squirm helplessly in their seats. We may see ourselves, I quote again, we may see ourselves chained to the habits, tastes, sympathies, and moods of the machine, with which we have nothing whatever in common. And when the machine runs like clockwork, burying our higher attention in subtle sleep of routinization, it is even worse. We will undoubtedly discover to our horror the real terror of the situation, that our precious force of work is being robbed by continual XYZ routine things, right? So this is the situation that we are trapped. We are squirming uh, like imbecile little things, trapped, uh, trapping, jostling, aching, crying, rotting in guilt and all negative emotions. This is the situation. The second step that comes on the path is accepting the situation, that you begin to accept the situation. And how do you accept the situation is by, now these points are, no, I think the second point is overwhelm, right? When you realize the situation, the second point that comes is overwhelming feeling. There are a lot of negative emotions that come in, and you and that's when the shift starts happening, when the realization, the question comes that what can you do in that point of overwhelm? What is it that I can do in that point of overwhelm? um, the first step is get used to it, which is accept the situation, right? I also have a couple of quotes. Yeah, so one exercise for getting used to it is, when manifesting a particularly active state you happen to catch yourself in, especially if it is very dramatic, suddenly shout cut and stop the action like a film director. Repeat it several times for each dramatic manifestation until it becomes a part of your voluntary. That's one little exercise. But there are different parts of accepting the situation, right? This is just a small exercise, but the bigger thing that comes in, and this is where I shifted my lesson with my mom, and I had read enough, and then this was the point where she started coming up with a lot of questions. I thought, let me just change it. I didn't feel like giving up. I was exhausted, but I didn't feel like giving up. So I thought, what would Bhagwan do? Like, what would Bhagwan do in this situation? And I just felt like sharing with her a lesson that I'd come across, which I was sharing with somebody else, and I thought she would love it. And I started sharing that with her. In that lesson, after a couple of phases of taking her through the ashram and all of that, the question was on self remembering. And I think, and I felt that that was the key of where you start getting used to the situation. So I believe that self remembering is the single biggest key. If not, encompasses self remembering, encompasses a lot of other things as well, you know. But self remembering is when you remember that there is, you are a part of a thing. There is the character that is playing all these things, and there is the watcher, and that watcher is somehow connected to a higher thing. So that is the notion of self remembering, where your arrowed attention is on the thing that you're doing, on yourself, and the higher connectedness. So I believe that when you, that self remembering brings in a little bit of relaxation, and it comes with the minute you remember and feel connected to the self, you feel certain emotions, which are faith, gratitude, and love, right? So the minute of connectedness brings you to the feeling of how grateful you are for what you have and what is keeping you afloat in the situation. So that's when you start accepting the situation, right? And the next step, after you have come to accepting the situation, is a few quotes. Uh, yeah. Yeah, so I'm going back about the overwhelmed feeling on page 54, the resulting sensations of frustrations and remorse engendered by our utter failure to influence the machine, even slightly, can serve as the negative force necessary for awakening of the machine, right? So that negative force is now converting into something that you can use as a fuel for your machine, machine's evolution. Mm. Yeah, and then there is a bit about observations of the inner and outer activities of the machine should not be limited to the period during which we are still excited about it and wish to learn something new. We must learn to take these higher mental apparatus photographs of the biological machine at different times and in different states, not just of small details, but the
It's too
whole
fast.
actions.
It's too fast. You are reading too fast. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, sorry. Yeah, so yeah, I thank you, Michelle. So the point where you start realizing and walking and getting used to the situation and relaxing into it is the point where the observation of the machine then contains the most important factor, the invoked presence of the source of attention. Right? So your attention is now no longer being sapped by the negative manifestations, but it is rooted in self-remembering, and it is rooted in invoked presence, which comes from gratitude, love, faith, and all the things that I discussed before. Right? And then the processes of taking mental pictures of your states helps in probably, I don't know, establishing beachheads of where you have been, and the ability to navigate them every time you're getting lost. Um, and that is the process when you start defining your work wishes, right? So for me, the example of a work wish that I have for myself is discipline. And I'm still confused because if that is the work wish, but you come to a state where you expect a breakthrough or at least a change in pattern once you have started accepting and relaxing into the phase of accepting the situation, feeling overwhelmed about it, thinking, what can I do? And starting the process of observation in a relaxed state is when the birth of presence comes in. And with presence, the idea of impartiality is stepping in, right? So impartiality has stepped in at this point in time. And that is the change in pattern, wherein that impartiality and that presence is then allowing you to keep walking, and which is the next step. The next step is keep walking. And in that impartiality, I think the goal emerges. And you see what is the best, what is it that you want to do in life, you know, and what is the best thing that you can do to achieve that state in the time that you have. And I think that can define your work wish. And for me, it is discipline that I'm working with. Maybe it's not a, what do you call, a small wish, but it is a big wish. But that's my work wish for now, right? So yeah. So we've spoken about using the point where observations, and yeah, so then unification of the self, the necessity defines the goal. So what is your necessity in the work? What is your necessity that you realize after all this experience of going through? You realize that this is how I'm going to be a uh, better resource, you know? And then the dismembered self um, gets slightly collected. And they're talking about the temporary centrum of gravity, right? I don't know what is my permanent centrum of gravity. So my work wish becomes my temporary centrum of gravity, right?
Sure.
And how do you stick to that temporary centrum of gravity is by being the sly man and dancing between the raindrops, as Bhagwan used to say. So this is the theory part of it. Now for the practical part of it, what is that one situation that you feel most embarrassed, most guilty, most shaken? And how do you, in that moment, emerge out of it? I mean, you don't have to share it, but you can just internalize it.
So this is an exercise to help discover my aim.
Yeah. So I think that brings you to the state where the aim starts to present itself. So my exercise is rooting in that's the fulcrum for me. And I felt that if you tap into it is when you revisit the space where the aim starts to define itself. That's where I'm at. So yeah. So and the final sentence is, it cannot be taught, it can only be learned.
Alpha, can you talk about that Slyman thing and walking between the raindrops? Can you Can you elaborate on that?
You know, we spoke about Nikhil in the last lesson, wherein he speaks about in the Inner Aims chapter of HBM that how people don't really want evolution, right? The world will do everything to come in the path of your work, and there'll be obstructions, and there will be shifts in the maze, and there's going to be new situations presenting themselves to deal with. Um, so the sly man is which has almost recognized this fact and has seen it as a pattern emerging from things, so he can anticipate and find his way. uh, it's about probably calculating intuitively, probably, about what can go wrong. Like, there a lot of situations that we know, my family will come, a phone will ring, keep the phone on silent, tell the family I'm busy. So this life, or even if you're not able to, then you find the opportunities in every situation that is presenting. Like, for example, when my mom came in, I don't know if I was being the sly man, but the best opportunity for me at that point in time is looking at it as a work opportunity, right? Everything that presents to you is a work opportunity, including the obstacles. But how do you find those spaces between the raindrops? Raindrops is the continuous force, life force that keeps us engaged and keeps us asleep. And the space between the raindrops is the pause, which allows our attention to grow deeper inside.
Mm, nice.
That's it from me.
Amazing.
Very good. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you.
It was very fast at some points to
I'm
absorb
so sorry,
everything.
Michelle. I was getting a little
That's
nervous. Whenever
that's
I got
okay.
nervous, I
You
was running
you did
fast.
a great job. A lot of great information. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
I remember from HBM when it talked about initial aims. I do remember thinking about it a lot when we went through the HBM book. And um, so as far as I remember, the initial aim in a school when you enter a school is to awaken the machine or begin the observation of the machine. And that's how and I think I'm at that stage. I'm at the initial stage where I'm starting to observe the machine, or at least starting to make some efforts.
Yeah, so then
But
sorry, one point that I missed, Nikhil, thank you for bringing in the idea of efforts. Impartial observation comes hand in hand with effortless effort, which um, was the second question in the lesson I was watching from Bhagwan, the question of effortless effort, which is also happens when you are impartial. You are connected to the source, you are connected, and you have a feeling of that connectedness even when you are doing um, the other things. And then comes in the point of one point that I had missed was the higher emotions being invoked, right? The higher emotional center getting activated when you are in that state of flux wherein you are overwhelmed with the feeling of situation and faith and gratitude and love and all of that. Then higher emotions and what is the best thing that I can do, then I think the effortless effort kind of begins, wherein you are kind to yourself, so you're not straining yourself, and you are it is supposed to happen, so it's happening anyway. So efforts are absolutely 100% important, but just be relaxed in those efforts. I think you are. So that's, I don't know if it helped, but it's even related to your question of what.
yes, yes.
So let me ask a quick question. So I'm confused about the Sly Man again. It says the Sly Man is forced to become a teacher. He is also a thief.
Yeah. So that being the thief is dancing between the raindrops. You are you are you are extracting consciousness and awareness from whichever opportunity that comes to you.
And then it goes on and says, the slime man is forced by destiny to help him.
That's the work wish. That's the work wish, because there's also the point that you start work necessity, right? The in the chapter that we are reading right now, the work wish, it speaks about how you are able to only do anything when you are able to help others, right? Or do something for someone else. Or um, I'll just go to that quote.
Well, that's what it seems to say. It says, forced by destiny to help himself by helping others.
Yeah.
Um,
But to
everyone,
whom can he turn?
everyone of his own gradation is in the same boat. He
Hmm.
must seek help elsewhere, and then he can find many who have necessity but have not the means or the doctrine. He can find many. So I was just kind of impressed because the way you started this whole thing was you said, I'm sitting there in my bed reading this book, and my mother came in. And what did she say again?
What are you reading? What are you reading? And she's always curious about these sessions that I take and the classes that I
So
do.
she's saying to you, what are you reading? It, the slime man is to force become a teacher to help himself by helping others. It's like,
Yeah.
I mean, did the universe just say, oh, here's an example?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, it's like you were immediately given the opportunity
Yeah.
by destiny to become the slime man, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like you were just happy to lie in your bed, read until you fell asleep. But then here comes your mother. Oh my God. Right? And she
Yeah, yeah,
says, I
absolutely.
want to learn this, which puts you in a position to teach her.
It's really funny. Yeah.
Does she speak English?
No, no, I have to translate everything for her.
Okay, well, she's welcome, but we need a translator. But my point is this is about you.
Yeah. Just give me a second, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that Haralka?
No, no,
Forced
that's
by
not her.
destiny.
That's not her. That's the house help. That's another being in the vicinity.
So, so like if I was your mother, and you were saying all this stuff to me, and you're going on and on about this and that and raindrops and then you go, like higher, what did you say? Something about a higher, what did she say?
I don't know.
Does anybody remember anything that she said? No. Okay. You said something about higher dimensions?
Higher
Beachhead.
emotions. I spoke about the higher emotional state being active,
Yeah, but
and
you
I
also
spoke about the higher set, the higher when you're talking about self-remembering, the connected to the higher, yeah,
higher dimensions, right?
probably just the higher.
Beach.
Something.
Beachhead.
Well, she mentioned that word, but that's is just another word. But so my point is this is like, I don't know this stuff very well, but I was just wondering, like I meet you in a coffee house and you're going on about all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, oh my God, what's she talking about? And then I would say, what do you mean by the higher dimensions? You mean like the mountain, the airplane? It's like,
Certainly not the airplane.
so you see what I'm saying? It's like, I
Yeah.
don't know what you mean by that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So actually, if you do look at chapter 8 in the book called The Human Biological Machine as a Transformational Apparatus, which we have studied in this class in great detail, every single word.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
And he's going on, he goes, well, you don't know enough to even know what your aim is. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's his burden. It's like you don't know anything. And I had a teacher once, and I said, "Oh my God, yeah, I was meditating quite a bit." And I said, "I feel like I'm so empty inside." And he goes, "Yeah, that's probably right. You know, there's nothing there yet." So in that chapter, he asks the phone, "Why are you here?" Like the fact is, you are here right now, right?
Yeah.
So that's like a piece of empirical data. I don't know anything. I can't figure all this stuff out, but I know that I'm here right now. Why am I here? Why are you here right now? You may not have a mental centrum that can put the words together, but you can feel the thing that not only brought you here, but the thing that you savor when you're here. You know, look at Bernie. This guy, look at him. He's like, it's freezing, it's cold, it's winter,
It's midnight.
it's midnight, it's almost midnight, and here he is. It's first thing in the morning. It's early, early, early. Well, not that early. It's 8 o'clock. And there's lots of stuff I could be doing right now. You know, I mean, really. So why did I come? You can just talk about me. You don't have to talk about yours. You don't have to answer the question, why are you here? Okay, that's too hard, except for Nikhil.
It's hard for me as well.
So but here's a technique. Okay, this is kind of a teaching technique that you can use, whoever the teacher is going to be next week, is maybe you can't figure it out on yourself, but so you use, and this is the sly man thief principle. Okay. You, like, why do you think I'm here? Anybody?
So
What? Huh?
the work necessity.
Work necessity? Uh, what do you mean? Like, I'm not getting paid or anything.
No.
Oh,
work
you weren't? Oh,
work necessity. I mean, I've got all these movies to watch. I've got you should see my library. I've got the books are stacking up. It's terrible. I don't know what to do. And yet why am why am I here? I mean, I might get paid. I mean, somebody might send me some money, but I know some of the people here, they won't. Guaranteed.
A quest, right? Quest.
Maybe.
What's that?
Maybe we were screaming, help, and David heard us.
Oh, what did Nishant say?
I was saying
quest.
it's a quest. It's
It's a
it's
quest.
uh it's what is called um it's a search, right? We all are searching something.
So I'm searching something. So, but I came here, Nishant, I just got a book as a gift from somebody, which is it's called The Secret Teachings of All Ages, which is by Manly Palmer Hall. It's a classic book on, among other things, because I'm sure you read in chapter 8, says an alchemical process. So I could be studying that right now.
I think anything um, that will set you to go
Work
on that
attention,
quest.
Nishant. We were screaming, help us! And David heard us.
Uh,
So maybe sharing your knowledge and simultaneously enriching yourself with uh, whosoever is present here, like not the experience, but we study our biological machine and simultaneously we study and observe others as well, right? So you get here 8 different machines to study and
Mm.
observe. So collection of data.
I would say you are here because it is your work wish to teach this material to anyone who wants to learn,
So you're
who's
telling
willing
me
to.
what my work wish is?
I think, I mean, I'm nobody to tell anything.
Okay, I just want to clarify things. Okay.
But it could be your work wish to
Ah,
teach.
your interpretation of something about something about something about me.
Yes.
I see. That's really clear as mud. Okay. But I mean, if I'm really just trying to learn stuff, I mean, I've got 5 copies of the Tibetan Book of the Dead on my desk, and I want to study the chambers, the difference between the various chambers, how different authors approach it. But I'm here.
Are you forced by the higher force?
Exactly.
No,
Exactly.
but there's that guy with a gun over there said that's you better see.
I told him to stay away. He shouldn't be
The
seeing him.
Sly Man is forced, the Sly Man is forced. Not
By
with a
what?
gun.
By what?
Not with a gun.
By
By
destiny.
Is the Sly Man forced?
by the universe.
No. What does it say? Real simple. Read it, Nikhil. You've got your book there.
The sly man is forced to become a teacher. He is also a thief, forced by destiny. to help himself by helping others.
By helping others, right? So what's different? What's the difference between me being here and me going to my library and reading Manly Palmer Hall's chapter on alchemical process? What's the difference? Is there any difference?
There is a
Yeah, it's a
difference.
big difference.
What's the difference?
It would be the same difference that would have
Yes.
been if I was, on my bed reading the book and then
And then
and
what?
then the different experience that I got when I did it for somebody else, the experience was completely different. Um,
What's one element of it different, being different? Nishan.
Understanding.
Okay. What's really obvious when you look at the screen right in front of you?
We are all here.
The
that you're
invocational place.
Invocation of presence.
There's 7 people here. I mean, if you count me. I mean, is it okay if I count myself? Can I be counted?
Yeah. Yes, people. Yes.
It's the I can go into my room, my library over there, and go like this intense. And it's interesting too. It is really interesting. But I can't taste of the invocational presence of any group unless I am in a group. The sly man knows he has to, teach others, right? Why? Because he knows that's the only way to learn. But there's the invocational element to it that makes it utterly unique. Utterly unique. Okay. Now, here's another interesting thing, which I'm going through. Because I've just introduced this book to somebody. I think I told you about her. She has a deep background in Kundalini. She's trained to be a yoga teacher, study, right? And I introduced HBM to her. So she has no background in this material that we're talking about. But it's fascinating. She's got a good mind. She's on chapter 12. She's about to start chapter 12. I'm fascinated because she is a seeker. She is a voyager. And how do I come to her working? One thing is absolutely no interest in changing her mind, or certainly no interest in teaching her. But in the moment of being with her, I might be able to learn something. It's invaluable not only to be part of an invocational space, and this actually is I think it's in chapter 20, Nikhil, that I really emphasize the fact DJ says it's not only a matter of that you are in presence, but that you're aware that you are in presence. You know what I mean? Like, be aware of the bath of this electrical gift that we're giving each other here. It's kind of cool, right?
Mhm. Yeah, that's Osho named his ashram as Osho Commune,
There you go.
and I never understood. You know, it took me a long time to understand the commune.
When I read the stuff I did of his early on, I took that the meaning wasn't the common definition of a commune, but of people living together, but literally the concept of communing together. And then there's the principle it's actually in the seven bodies of man, but of transubstantiation, where you you know you have communion. Bernie, were you Catholic? Did you?
Yes, I was born Catholic,
Me too.
I see the connection. What we're talking communion. You take the communion in the mass. Communion is communion, communicate, common. It's a many faces or many sides that can be used. The word community, common.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very interesting. No?
Very.
Yes, and again, David, I laugh. It's a good laugh. It's not ironic, but I see you are working this in this way because you're eliciting. It's very strange because Swati and I at the same time got the concept of vocational space.
That's right.
Incredible. It was time, and it I don't know how it came to through me. And she said it in that time, but that was a kind of elicitation. I would like to share to the group. Probably you know who Socrates is, but Socrates had the way of teaching through asking their disciples,
Yeah.
and he in reality we know the answers, but somehow the teacher has to make space so the answers or to the questions that we have come about. So
The
David is a kind of
the
David.
concept of the invocation, Bernie, it
Yes,
was literally in the air.
yes, absolutely.
You picked it up, Swati picked it up.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
It was in the space, and that's the beauty, the just stunning beauty of being working together.
So maybe that is what um, every time we come together, we don't know why we make the effort, the sacrifice, whatever you can call it, but why we come here for an hour. And I know that I can read this book 100 times, but it's not the same when this is read in this invocational space.
There you go. It's literally a different text. It's
Yes,
actually different.
and I would like to say something. Last night, not night because it was not night, but it was me for night. Pat gave her space
Yeah.
for the reading of the hidden work, and I think many of you were there. But um, Nishant, no, the other guy, one of the groups, I don't recall now the name, but it's a fellow. When we was finishing the hour, asked the group to be silent and keep there for minutes, even the time had passed. And I realized that it was a very, very good idea because he said, so we can digest bread. Because I don't know you, but I tend to, when I finish, I go to my things, to eating or to the kitchen, maybe say, oh, it's time that I can go to a film. But I found it that it was a very good idea because it gave us some minutes we could digest that, and I was not able to agradecer this idea, and I will when I find him again. That's it.
You know, on Wednesday night when we do the angel class, I call on people to read. Now, I do that because their voice becomes an integral part of the weaving of the space. And they have a chance to be that reader. And it's noticeable to me when someone is called on how their being changes. They rise to the occasion. Because it's hard to read that stuff, right? It's complicated. No one knows what it means. But you read it for the benefit of everybody else. So, well, you know, what's next? Nikhil, you're our guide here, right?
Uh-oh.
So next time is 6, Struggle of the Sorcerers, right?
Chapter 6. I don't think we read the whole chapter last week. I think we went about halfway through chapter 5, pretty much read through the Sly Man.
Okay. Whatever you want.
Uh, so I guess we could just continue reading that. Maybe someone else can take up the mantle and be a teacher next week.
Who? Who did you say again?
I didn't name anybody.
Oh, you didn't. Oh.
Maybe we have volunteers. Maybe Alka can tag somebody. How about that?
Yeah.
Are we doing this?
Yes.
Okay, so I tag Bernie.
Uh-oh. Oh man, that's a tough chapter too. Oh my goodness.
I would ask if I may,
Okay, okay.
Oh no,
from
no.
the 6th chapter, because I think we have read the 5th chapter. Right? I have marked here.
Decide what to do. Do you want to just go right on to 6?
I
Bernie?
wouldn't mind that. I
Okay,
think we read the
sounds
rest
sounds
of
good.
our chapter, and if you have any questions, we can discuss that, or observations,
So
and then like spend 10 minutes on this and then come to chapter 6.
So let me remind myself of this purpose. What is my work obligations? To read this chapter 6 and point out my reactions to it, what I find interesting. We can read it together also. So if the is it is time for me to be Mr. Trump and have the power. Wow. So I would like to, if I am able, I would like to quickly, not too quickly, but read it between ourselves, and I will read it all during the week and point to where I find my reactions to it, and that's what I propose.
Okay.
So you're forcing us to read chapter 6 by ourselves?
Yes.
Oh my.
That's the teacher a
Because
day in advance. He has taken the
yes,
responsibility in the
yes,
previous
yes.
class.
How am I going to remember?
Alga has spoken a lot about this fifth chapter already, and
Okay.
she has
Yes,
made very interesting points. So
yes.
I would, it would be redundant. That is a exact pronunciation. Redundant.
Nikhil, I'd like to suggest something. Do you have the copy of Practical Work on Self in PDF form, right?
Hmm.
Can you send chapter 6 in English to,
Yeah.
okay?
Very
I'll
Bernie,
good.
send it to the whole group.
Yes, please, because I have it in Spanish. Yes. Thank you.
he just isn't, everybody else has they don't need it. We have the book,
Okay.
but he,
Thank you, Socrates.
he's
He's
got,
like Hanuman. You ask him
he's
to get sent.
Hanuman. That's right.
I'm gonna get in the mountain back.
You know, in Spanish, it's
Ah,
the chapter, it's called Trabajo
practice.
Práctico sobre uno
Mhm.
mismo.
Yes, exactly.
That's what it's on self. And if we're lucky, he won't read it, we won't have to read it in Spanish. But you never know. That might be what he forces
So
us
the
to do. I
second
mean,
instruction, get basics of Spanish in place by the next class.
La lucha
So,
entre los
Ni-
locos.
Nickel, would you send it to me?
I'm doing it right now.
Yeah.
I'll get to it right away.
Yeah,
I
just
will.
one chapter and then you could send however much you want, but right now let's just focus on one chapter, one step, little baby step.
I will print it and I work within the week. Thank you.
Because when I was
Thank you
doing
so much.
the Spanish classes, I had two books that complex. Anyway, thank you, Elka, for leading us this evening.
Yes, thank you so much. That was great.
Just if any of you wants to do that exercise of going back to that one instance that completely deshackled you and how you emerged out of it, that would be a personal exercise.
Can you say it exactly the exercise
That
again?
one moment, there's an exercise
Better
which
yet,
that one moment, sorry.
better yet, send us an email
Okay.
with our instruction of the exercise. That way, the
Yes.
exercise is captured.
Yeah.
We have it on you recorded this, right, Nikhil? Yeah, he's recording this. But we have it in the recording already from what you said. But then we'll also have it written.
Yeah.
Which
I'll also send the notes. Yes. I'll send you my notes as well.
beautiful.
I wanted to. It'll give me an opportunity to properly organize it and make it into a proper document. So I'll do that.
Excellent. So
Bernie, you should have the
another-
email.
can we spend another 2 minutes or do you have to go, Alka? Just 2 minutes?
I have 2 minutes.
Or you do have 2 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, good. What did it feel like putting yourself in the position of the teacher for this class?
It's a moment in time. It's a moment in time.
It's different though, right? When you
Yeah.
stand in the shoes of the slime man, it just puts you in a different world.
It just makes you happy. I was really happy doing it for every opportunity of it. It just allowed me an opportunity of something that didn't feel like a heavy thing that I have to do, like the office work. It
Yeah,
was something I really was happy doing, and I've not happy as in excited, but content
good
doing.
word. Good word. Yeah. Good. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Took it on. You actually did
Yeah.
take it on.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you
Alka.
very much.
You-
I will
By
send
the
you
way,
continually.
we
That
might
was
get Violet next week with us. So
yeah, I
I'm
was
looking forward to
wondering
seeing
where
her.
is she?
She might be joining us next week.
Awesome.
Take care,
All
everybody.
right. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
guys. Thank you,
Bye
Alka.
bye.
Yeah.
Thank you.